Let's talk about Best in Class Education Center then, the franchise itself. There's a lot of competition when it comes to right tutoring and education. What makes Best in Class Education Centers different than all the other centers that are out there?
Yeah, it's a number of things, right? So, Frank, number one is the curriculum that we have. Like I said earlier, I bought the licensing right, but we rewrote the entire curriculum, right? Is proprietary curriculum to us, and then we have the technology. In 2020, within maybe a week to 10 days, all location has to close because of social
Mhm.
distancing. So together we put in some technology together, doing Zoom and all the stuff, they help franchisee keep the lights on,
Sure.
right? They need to pay rent. We still have the lease agreement and all that. And the light bulb went on. So we create another company called Adaptive Education. It's an edtech company to help. It's a separate entity, legal entity, but it actually help franchisee with all aspects of the business. It does two things. Number one, operational efficiency, right? It does
Hmm.
invoicing, rescheduling, and all this stuff. And secondly, when people talk about tutoring, it's mainly pencil and paper, right? Doing all the work. But with the technology, student is able to do the work online. Parent, teacher will see when the student do the work. Do they guess the answer or not? It will capture all the data and gamification too. After they are done, we unlock some game frame so that they can play some educational game. And then the cool thing is everybody talk about AI and all this stuff, right?
Right.
We have an AI chatbot called Bestie, Bestie, and then student can type the question. And Bestie will give you the answer, but it will give you some example and all the stuff. And then lastly, most importantly, in addition to our operation team working very closely with the franchisee, I am very much into mentorship coaching. Frank, I am so lucky because in my life, there are so many people who give time to me unconditionally
Hmm.
to shape who I am today. To pay forward, I do that to my franchise in some of the good friends. So I personally work with them either on a one-on-one or a small group basis, right? If it's one-on-one, we do it every quarter, every 2 months.
Hmm.
So we talk regularly, looking at the income statement, going through each line item. What is the most important KPI? We pay attention to the top line. We pay attention to the bottom line. We pay attention in between, and then we group them together, peer to peer, and all this stuff. So it sets us apart. We truly care about the success of the franchisee. The quality is more important than the quantity. Speaking of that, I think you probably ask me, do we have a protected territory? I said, absolutely, we do.
Hmm.
Some of our competitors don't, right? Frank, you and franchising, a lot of the concept do not have a protected territory. It's
Hmm.
funny, over the weekend, my son and I just went to the South Center Mall. We see two end-to-end pretzels
Hmm.
in the same mall. How strange is that? Right? I hope it's the same owner, right? Otherwise,
Probably
it would
is.
be,
But yes,
yeah.
you make a good point, though. There are brands out there that don't have protected territories, and obviously it's smart that you do that. Hal, you've got 45 franchises open. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have 45 locations in 9 states. Some are multi-unit operators.
Okay. Who is like who's your ideal franchise owner? Since you do have single and multi-unit franchise owners, I'm kind of curious on that.
Yeah, someone who's passionate about education. A lot of the time, people saying, "Oh, yeah, I have a full-time job, Frank, and I want to buy this franchise." It doesn't work. It
Mhm.
has to be dedicated full-time, someone who's willing to work hard, roll up their sleeve, passionate about our next generation teaching, and then slowly we help them work on the business, right? Someone who's have a marketing mindset, right? Because this is small business. Every single day we think about two things. I call it the R and R, Frank. Recruitment and retention,
Mm-hmm.
right? Recruitment means recruiting qualified teacher to help you with your business. And then, of course, recruit student. But that's not the end of the story. You have to close the back door. What is
Right.
the back door? Is retention, right? You need to retain talent because it costs a lot of money to recruit, onboard, and train.
Mm-hmm.
You want to find way to put a golden handcuff on them, right?
Right. Right.
And then similarly for students, in any business, customer acquisition is fairly expensive, right? Whether it's service industry or product or whatever it is. So how do you retain the student, right? But of course, above and beyond service, good quality, good teacher, and all that. So the R and R is super important: recruitment and retention.
Especially in your nature of the business, because it is highly competitive. I mean, there's a lot of big names in the
Oh
education
yeah.
space that are, they're backed by private equity. They have kind of unlimited
Oh yeah.
dollars, and they have seemingly unlimited resources to be able to to recruit and retain as well. How I love getting the answer to this question, since I get this often from people who are starting out in franchising. They're new founders of franchise companies are always worried, like, how am I going to sell my first franchise? Where am I going to find these people? Where did you find your first dozen franchises?
Yeah, it's funny. Just like any other franchise, new franchisor, right? Like, oh, you spend a lot of money, you have a vision, you have a dream, you
Right.
franchise the business, and then you just sit by the phone and you hope that it rang up the hope. You are laughing. I know. I know.
Oh no, oh
It
boy.
does. It doesn't happen, right? And
Right.
then before everybody franchise, right? Your sister-in-law, your cousin,
Right.
everybody love your cookie. I'm gonna buy it
Right.
when you franchise the business. It doesn't happen. It's gonna take a lot of patience, hard work, perseverance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only you have to build a dream team, it has to be patient. At the beginning, we all make mistake, right?
Oh yeah.
You accept someone who's breathing and write you a check, right?
Yes.
Like, and you made mistake, right? And down the road, the people who should not buy your franchise take up 80% of your time,
Right.
right? So the
Absolutely.
first 12 was rough. It wasn't easy because we are eager, right? Oh, how come we couldn't sell yet? It's been 6 months, 10 months, and then we learned the hard way, right? And now the advice is like, just be patient. We do different thing. We buying the leads, and then we work with wonderful franchise broker, and Frank, there are many
Sure.
brokerage group. We work with them and then get the first 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At the beginning, it was rough, right?
Mm-hmm.
First couple years we sell maybe 3 or 5, and then later on, slowly we get the momentum and we gain, and then slowly some people fall out of the system because they don't, it's a core value fit, right? Because a
Yeah.
lot of the time, when you look at it and then you do a core value test, and I say, whoa, we have 5 core value, but like it just doesn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
We try to understand the situation and help them exit the system.
Yeah. Making sure that they are culturally a right fit, for sure. What are the core values of your company?
Oh yeah, the acronym is PEACE, Frank. The first one is positive because we're in children's business, right?
Right.
So you always have the big smile on your face. You deal with everything, in a very positive manner. E is energetic and passionate about what you do, right? Like, if you love teaching, if you care about the student, referral will come in,
Mm-hmm.
right? A is adaptability. Unfortunately, we got hit by the pandemic, right? All of us were forced to adapt, but we already have that core value way before the pandemic. C is collaboration. You and I cannot do this alone,
Right.
right? So we assemble a dream team, and I have wonderful team member who helped me get to where we are today, right? And then we work with franchisee partner up with teachers, parents, student, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
super important that we work in a collaborative environment. And then lastly is efficient. So during the pandemic, we turn it to empathy, because things are different. We try to understand now. The pandemic is pretty much behind us. We are back to efficient, because regardless of your bottom line, right, Frank, you have been franchising, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line don't tell you a story. Sorry, the top line,
Right?
but the bottom line, right? You have to be efficient. Again, what are the most important KPI in your business, right?
Right.
You need to have no more than 3. Keep an eye on it if you want to be profitable and successful.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.